Okay, hello. We are live. I think we're finally here. Thank God. It's been a long, long road. I think finally I've managed to get everything sorted technically. So hopefully, what you can see at the moment is my histogram slide, and we are going to just go through a couple of bits and pieces. I can see you're all signing in, so thanks very much for that. I can actually see your names, so that's all good. So hopefully you're all signing in, and yeah, just to let you know. We're going to go through the histograms question that I was going to go through in exam in the class yesterday. But before we start, I just wanted to talk about the guidance today that's come through about exam grades. So you might have seen it, and I will talk through briefly what that guidance says. So at the moment, what we're being told is that all the exams will be graded based on predicted grades and mocks and a combination of teacher assessments. That's why it's important that the homework that I've given you, the practice exam 4, if you could do that, that would be really good as well, just to help the evidence. I will obviously have your mocks, but any other evidence I can gather together, that'll be good as well. And that needs to be into me fairly soon. I've given you a deadline on Firefly, so if you want to look at that, that would be great, and make sure please that you get it in on time. If you are in already, it would be great if you could see if your friends could also log in. There's only 17 of you present at the moment by the look of it. So if you could text people and just make sure they've got the correct link, because obviously I had to change it at the last minute because I had a bit of a technical fail. So I apologise for that. If you have questions as we're going through, I can see what you're typing. So if you want to chat and send me some questions, that's fine. If you want me to stop, slow down, do anything again, that's fine. Just to finish that exam advice, so the other thing they did say was that if you are unhappy with your grade, you could choose to do an exam in early in September, October. So there is going to be an opportunity to sit an exam if you wish to, but obviously your grade will be based on teacher assessment, mocks and other things. So I'm hoping you will be happy. I would rather you were just very happy with it. I imagine that the exam boards will want you to stay as you are, but it just means that if you want to sit an exam, if there's a possibility of sitting an exam later, I think we should probably, for the moment, carry on this lesson. Although I think this will be the last lesson for a little while. I know initially I said to you in an email I would like to carry on with the lessons as normal, but for the moment I think we're saying exams are cancelled unless you are unhappy with your grade. So I imagine most of you will be happy, I hope, once they all come through. But if you are unhappy, there's obviously an opportunity for you to sit something in September. And for that reason, I will stay in contact with you. What I'd like to do is just identify how many of you want to do A-level maths. So that's something I'll be asking you for on Firefly shortly. So if you want to just let me know that information, that'd be good. Because obviously then I can create a class of those of you who want to carry on and do A-level maths. And then hopefully in the next few weeks, we can start considering whether or not I'd like to do some lessons with you, probably weekly, to do a little bit of an introduction to A-level. So to show you around everything here, I'm just going to show you a few things. So first of all, I am here. Here's me. Hello. I'm not going to show my video too much because I don't really like to see myself on video. It would be important, I think, just to make sure that you've got opportunity to see other things. So I'm going to do some whizzy stuff today. I have been practicing earlier on, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to show you some good, neat stuff today, and you know, really give you some good examples of how this technology can really benefit everything. So without further ado, let us talk a little bit about histograms and how they are. This is the PowerPoint presentation that I gave you, you know, a while ago. Not really changed anything. The key thing, as you know, is the frequency density. So this frequency density here always goes along the side, height along the bottom. This is something you probably you know quite well, I think. So I don't think I've got too much challenges in terms of those are ordinary facts. We need to also talk about the class intervals. The class intervals usually are unevenly spaced, although in this particular example they are fairly evenly spaced, apart from the first one. That's the clue, really. Once you get uneven class intervals, you know you're probably into histograms. So what you need to be doing is obviously working out the class width, and then subsequently using the formula to get yourself an idea about what frequency density is, and that's displayed here on the far right. So of course what they're doing is to do 12 divided by 10, 10 divided by 5, 20 divided by 5, and so on, and all of those values they're generating here are what we call the frequency density. So you've got that down, hopefully. What then happens is you will eventually draw a graph. That graph usually is going to look a little bit like the one that follows here. So usually you can spot the uneven class intervals and how they're drawn up. And I've taught you many times that the first thing you should do with a question of this nature is just work out the frequency of each bar. So if you're given a question which has got bar graphs in it or bar charts in it, you should start by working out the area of each particular bar. Just start by doing that process. So obviously here we've got, this is 200 wide, and you can see that this here is going to be 0.5, or sorry, 0.05. So this here is going to be 0.05, and then times the 200 wide here. So you would obviously calculate that and work that through to get the frequency in here. This one here, for example, you can see it's that looks about 50 wide, and this is going to be 0.4 high. So 0.4 here. So you've got 0.4 times the 50 wide. So you're going to do 0.4 times 50, and then that will get you the frequency. Sorry about the pen. You can see it's not hyper accurate, but you can see that's what you would do, and then you would go through that process and so on. So this is the first thing you should do, is hopefully work out the frequencies as you go. Working through this particular example, they're doing a little bit of that here, just working through and working out the frequency densities. You can see, looking at the class widths and then working out the subsequent frequency. So that is what they're doing here. They're using this table to do it. So you can see frequency is frequency density times the class width. So you should know by now you've got to multiply these two things together. So you're going to do that and work your way through it, and hopefully you'll get these frequencies here, 10, 10, and so on, 20, 20, 10, and 2. And then I would encourage you probably to draw those onto the graph. We're going to skip off this now because we've seen these examples before, but I just thought it would be useful to start with some of the basic stuff, just so you've got it understood and you are aware of what's happening. The key thing is, with all of these things, just to make sure that you are working out the frequencies as we go. So we're going to come off this. Now behind here, what I've got is I've got a couple of things to show you. So bear with me a second. The first thing I want to show you is the exam question. So that is going to be in here. Let me bear with me on that. So that's going to be here. So here is the exam question. This is the exam question from practice paper 3, practice exam set 3, paper 3, the one that I felt I wanted to go through in class with you. And so what I would like to do is just talk you through this a little bit, show you a few calculations here, and just make sure that we've got this nailed. I have got a calculator with me here as well, so I'll be using that as I go through the question. So first of all, the things to note in the question are these values, this first clue here, because this is obviously a very important clue, this 90 farms having an area of 10 hectares or less. We have to identify where 10 is. 10 is here. So this here has got to be, the area has got to be 90. We know that because we're told in the question that this is 90. So this has got to be 90. Now if this is 90 and that's 10 wide, this has to be 9 high. So you start with that idea of 9 high. This is going to be 6. This is 3. Oops, there. This is 12. And this is going to be 15 up here. So they all have to be 3 high. Now we also know that there are 5 boxes in this gap here. So that's worth 3. So each little box is going to be worth 3 fifths. So 3, the total of that, divided by the 5 boxes. So 3 divided by 5, that's 0.6. So each little box is worth 0.6. So now we know that, we can go through and work out the area of each of these bars, because that's what I would encourage you to do first. So this is 10 wide, this is 12.6 high, so this must be 126. And this one here, this is going to be 30 wide, and this is, I think it looks like sort of 1, 2, 3, so that's 1.8, so it's 4.8. So this is going to be 4.8 high, so 4.8, and then this is 30 wide. So I need to calculate it out, and I just need to identify what that is. So I'm going to just do that on the calculator real quick. So on the calculator here, I'm going to do 4.8 and then the 30 wide here. So I'm going to make sure I do 4.8 times 30. And that is 144. So I'm going to write that in there. And then this here is between 50 and 100. So this is 50 wide. And then this here is, well, it's one space away from 3. There's 3. And this is one space away. So it's 2.4 high. So it's 2.4 times 50 is what I need to do, because it's 50 wide. So again, I'm just going to get the calculator. 2.4 times 50, and that gives me 120. And then this is 20 wide, and this is 3 high, so that's going to be 60. And then this last one between 120 and 150 is 30 wide, and that's going to be 2 boxes away from 3. So that's going to be 1.2 away from 3. So that's 1.8 times there. So that's going to be 54. Okay, just make sure I do that. Just check that. So we've got, again, just to clarify that, we've got 30 wide here. And we know we're going to need to do the height of it, which was 1.8. So we're going to just do 1.8 times 30, just to double check that is 54, but I think it is 54. Yeah, it is 54. Okay, good. Hope you can hear me okay. So we're going to put the calculator away for a minute. So I'll do that. And what we'll do is look at the next clue. So this is 90, 126, 144, 120, 60, and 54. We have to add up all of these as we go, but we'll have to use the clues first. So the next bit is talking about 60% of the farms with area of 100 hectares or less. Well, 100 hectares is here. So this is 100 hectares, okay? And we want all of these from all the way up to 100 hectares. So it's 90, 126, 144, and 120 added up. So we need to add that all up. So I'm going to add that all up. So I'm going to do 90. Plus 126 plus 144 plus 120. That is all the farms up to 100. There's 480 farms up to 100, and we're being told that 60% of them, so 60%, are arable farms. So we want to work out 60% of 480. Well, 60%, we're just going to do 60 divided by 100 and then times by that 480. So I can't squeeze it in here. I might be able to just about squeeze it in. I can, yeah. So 60% of 480. So I'm going to get the calculator again. This was in the calculator paper, as you know, so it's not a problem to use a calculator. So 60 divided by 100 times 480. And that gives me 288. So in this bit, we've got 288 here. Okay, just write that bit better. So that's 288, and then we're being told half of the farms are more than 100. Of more than 100 are arable farms, so half of them are more. This area here is 60 plus 54, so there's 114 farms in this bit, and we're being told half of them. So half of 114 is 57. So we're going to do 57 here, and we're going to add these up, 288 plus 57, because we're working an estimate for the total number of arable farms. So we're going to do 288 plus 57, and the answer is 345. So that hopefully will be the answer. If I look at the answer scheme real quick, just put the calculator out of the way. Sorry, I didn't realise the calculator was still there. So this is me adding up the 288 plus 57. This is the 345. We're going to just check the answers to make sure that's right. So the answers are over here. So here we go. And just show that real quick. Yep. Just 1 second. There we go. So there's the answers. And 3, 4, 5, we can see the answers. And you can see that the marks and the questions are given for working out the frequencies. So if you'd done all the frequencies, only 3 of them would have been correct. So I do remember from memory a lot of you were getting a few of them right, but not all of them right. Then the 60%, that's 60% of the 288. and then they're doing here the half of the 114, they're doing the 57, and then they're obviously going to add them up to get the 345. So it's quite straightforward once you know what to do. It's not an issue at all. Now, in the other thing I did was I also sent you a piece of work on Firefly, which you might have got by now, which was looking a little bit like this. So this is the sort of the work that I sent you on Firefly, so it looks a bit like that. And I just wanted to go through one or two of these little questions, so you've got an opportunity to try this at home. I will also put the answers on Firefly a bit later after this podcast, so you can see after the video, so you can see what the answers are. I will put those on Firefly for you. Now, first of all, you'll spot some things about this question which are worth mentioning straight away. For example, you can see that in this particular question, I'm just going to set the drawing tool open. In this particular question, we've got some frequencies given to us, but we don't have the frequency density. And as most exam questions, they haven't given us a column to do that. So you'd have to create the frequency density column for yourself. So you would go through and work out the frequency densities. And again, it's the frequency, these values, divided by the class width. So this is 20, this is 30, this is 50, this is 200. You would do 50 divided by 20, and you would get 2.5. So I'm going to write that down here. 90 divided by 30, so that's 3. 120 divided by 50, that's 2.4. And then 160 divided by 200, and that's going to be 0.8. I've worked them out earlier, so I'm not being super impressive working them all out in my head. I worked them out earlier. So 2.53, 2.4 and 0.8. That's what you get if you get the frequency density. Now down below we need to plot this, so we're going to have to look at this graph real quick. So just make sure I get that lined up properly. And then we need to draw S. So with all of these things, the key thing is to make sure that you've got the axes in the right place, and that you've understood where everything is. So frequency density, first of all, you can see is here, and you can see the area along the bottom. And what we're going to do is plot those values. So you might remember the first bar was between 0 and 20. So we're going to look at this and first of all work out my scale. Well, I've got 10 little boxes worth 50. So each little box is worth 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 20, and that's going to be 20 down here, and then that's going to have to be 2.5 high. So we need to be up here, so 2.5 high. So I'm going to try and draw it. It's going to be difficult for me to draw it. So that hopefully is where it will be, and I'm going to try and draw a nice straight line down here, and that will be the first bar, and you probably would shade it in, and then each bar is done in turn as you go. Now if you do it properly, it should look a little bit like this. So I'm going to show you the answer real quick if I can get it. Let's get the answers up. So there's the answers, and you can see here's the first bar. So that was the one I just drew. And then each bar as we go. So this one is 3 high, if you remember. This one was 2.4 high. This one was 0.8 high. You can see it's a big long bar. That last one was 0.8 high. So just remember that each one has to be drawn in turn. So that was the first bar. You can see how it compares. So that's it. And you can see it's going to be, the last bar is 200 wide. So it's important to get that right. Okay, so each one has to be drawn in turn, and you can see that on this PowerPoint as you're walking your way through, on this presentation rather, as you're working your way through, on the answers here you can see all the bars, all the answers are here, and also the answer scheme is there as well. So you can see it's giving you the answer scheme. For 2 correct bars you get 1 mark, for 3 correct bars you get 2 marks, and for all 4 correct bars you get 3 marks. So it would be 3 marks total for this particular question. And you can see there's the completed frequency density diagram, a frequency density table up the top there with the frequency density on the far right, and he's even put in the cloud the frequency density equals frequency divided by width formula. No questions yet, so it looks like you're taking this on board, hopefully. The other questions I've shown you just down here real quick. These are the other questions that are in that work that I set on Firefly. As I said, I will upload this to Firefly a bit later, so you can just make sure you've got this nailed. For those of you wanting to do A-level next year, this is definitely an A-level topic. So that's why I chose to do it anyway, because I think it's important that you do have it nailed, because it's definitely an A-level topic. You'll do it as part of statistics, and it comes up fairly early. So I've just covered it with my year 12s. We've covered it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'd imagine that many of you will be doing A-level, and some of you will be doing that next year. So this is the answer scheme. I will upload that to Firefly a bit later on, and hopefully you can take on board everything that's being done there. Do make sure you nail it, because this is a topic that I felt as a group you weren't particularly great at. So we seem to have done it a million times. So I think by now, hopefully you've got it nailed. I will, as I say, upload this to Firefly a bit later, so you've got it to refer to. Okay, I think that's everything really. We've gone through the PowerPoint, we've gone through a couple of questions, we've done the exam question, which is the main thing I wanted to do, was just to go through the exam question and show you the 345. I've gone through some of the answers the answer for the first question in the work that I put on Firefly. As I mentioned, I probably will put a message out to you later to ask you to tell me if you are somebody that wants to do A-level. That would be handy to have that information. And then what I'll then do is probably create a group just for you guys. And then my intention is hopefully to play this out in the next few weeks, is to probably give you some lessons, as I say, to introduce you to A-level a bit. Hopefully, we'll know a bit more about the exam prediction scheme. At the moment, as I say, all we've had is information that it will be based on predicted grades, mocks and teacher assessment. So as I mentioned right at the top of the video, that practice exam set 4 that I gave you yesterday morning, if you could do that and have that in by the agreed date, I'll have a look at that, I'll mark it, I'll keep the evidence, and then that will be helpful if the exam board comes chasing back for evidence about how I've reached my teacher assessed grade. Just to say, really, it's been a real pleasure to teach you. It's such a shame we had to end with such a sad ending. It's a shame I haven't managed to really have a chance to say goodbye to you properly, but I'm hoping I will see you again back at the school on next year, or on and when you start the 6th form. And I hope that maybe I might have to teach you some of you, so that'd be really good as well. If you are coming back to Herts and Essex and you are not doing maths, then I hope you appreciate that we're all working our way through this issue, and I hope that the grades that you get will reflect the people that I know you are, and you're all an amazing group. So I'm hoping that you'll do really well, and that they'll honour their systems that they're putting in place, and that they'll listen carefully to the teacher assessed marks that we will give you, and that'll be something that we can look forward to hopefully in the next few months. And yeah, just to say thank you for those of you that have sent me personal messages. I've really appreciated them. Obviously, I'm going to pump the Maths Jedi as a website here and say, please could you subscribe and leave me some likes. That would be really helpful. And then I do wish you all the very best, and hopefully we will see each other soon. Do work hard at home on those papers. I really do mean for you to do those, please, because I do need that evidence. It would be very happy, and I think it would be something that we'll reflect on hopefully at some point, and hopefully once all this is over and done with, we'll have an opportunity to say goodbye to you properly as a year 11, and I would look forward to that, I think. Okay, I do wish you a very, very good summer, and I do hope that you will have a very safe time being bored at home, probably playing lots of Monopoly. If you need me, you can email me. You know how to get hold of me, and I hope you will have a really good, well, as best as you can, summer. Hasta mañana, banana.